during your days in the lab, you have to understand errors and be patient to be in the lab. It's not easy. Like I've done research where I failed more than 400 times to do it. And then some of my field results have been published as another thing I found. Because as a researcher, one of the things you guys need to do as a researcher, those you want to be to be a researcher, your mind have to be open to many possibilities. Sometimes you'll be seeking, for example, I'm seeking to do maybe correlation, maybe multi-job correlation, and then you see a double rebound in a situation. Now you have to think about why is this rebound? Why is the fluid reacting like this? So you have to characterize that parameter. When you characterize that parameter, you keep it in mind, and you continue to feel it's extremely disappointing. You have maybe 10 to 15 minutes to set up one experiment, and you have maybe the 5 seconds to fail. Then you have to wait for 10 minutes to set it up again. 5 seconds. Stands that thing, maybe you're going 400, 500 times. Some people will go 10, 15 times and will stop right there. They are not doing it, look for different things to do. So most people, that's how they do that research. They always fail. When they fail, then they look for different things to do. So doing research is extremely, if you are in, my advice I always give to students who ask me, if you are in a good research team, like for example, you have 3, 4 persons doing the same research. I can pick any example. Maybe you're doing multi-phase dynamics of maybe particle correlation. Somebody can do maybe theoretical analysis. Another person can do maybe numerical analysis, and another person do the experimental analysis. Now, if you guys are working together in 1 year, you guys can publish maybe 5 to 6 papers together where you share. But you see, my research, I was the first author in that. I did not even have one co-author. It's not because I'm very strong and I don't want to have co-authors, because I was not in a team and I didn't work with people. And it was very disappointing because of the supervisor I was under. I would do maybe 99% of the work. Sometimes the supervisor don't review my work. He review my first, second work when you think he thought I knew how to structure English. Maybe my spoken English is not very perfect, but writing, I know how to write and communicate my idea very perfectly. So the guy would just read this stuff. He said, "No, it's okay, go and send it to the publication." These guys, to the editors, then would decide, I think, send it. So I'll do almost 99% of the work. And time to send it, you add maybe few people I don't even have no idea. I've never seen them before. Some of them are part of mine. Maybe some of them are maybe my teacher students, my supervisor students, and some of them I've never met them before. We just add that name and send it. But it was down to teamwork, and he didn't add my name on other students' papers, so it was just like that. That's a very bad environment. But if you are working in a team, you guys work with one purpose and work together, and you guys can progressively elevate the research field that you are making a research in. So that's the backdrop of the how. And you guys, maybe I think the thing I needed to say before I talk about maybe my timeline and how I do my research, uh, I needed to say that it's good to have a very structured life. During the time I was coming up, especially in my PhD studies coming up, the first year, the second year, I need to work. For example, 8 o'clock, I would go maybe around 2, 3, I leaving. Everybody, some people leave around 11. 2, 3, I go home and have to sleep. The alarm will wake you up, then you got to start again. Your body don't want to wake up. 6, 7 o'clock, you don't want to wake up after 4 hours, but you have to wake up and do it. Because I never had money at the time and had to create interest and I created a personality, and my supervisor took me very serious and started giving me money. Like, so most of you are in my case when I started my PhD. Most of you don't have money. But then if you're hungry, you cannot study. But you have to study for it to take it serious before they start paying you. Like, nobody send me money from back home. So you have to take that thing serious. Most of you will go, you don't have money, you don't have family. Your family, you have good family, but they don't have money. And you go in the people's lab and you spend 3 hours. Then you go back and go sleep. Yeah, so you need more time to do the research, and you rather need time because the novelty in the research will give you advantage. Before you publish a Q1 paper, you have to have novelty. Nobody have published this before. You are contributing new idea to science. That will be the only way they will publish your paper. And if you're publishing paper, like my last 3 papers are still in processing. One of them is in Journal of Fluid Mechanics. I've gone for 6 months. One of them I've gone for 9 months in Chemical Engineering Journal. And we are going to publish, we're trying to publish in Nature. It will take more than 9 months. But you waste your time if you don't maybe do something very novel to science. So my advice to all of you, you have a very structured life, have a very structured time to eat, have a very structured time to exercise. And then I went all around the place, but then that's how I really came up and did my PhD through consistency and understanding errors.
All right. I think that was a great explanation there. Now let's dive into, first, let somebody want to know about your major. What are you majoring, or what was your major?
So the major is power engineering and engineering thermophysics, but I know chemistry very well. I know chemical engineering, and my research is focused on fluid mechanics, multi-phase flows. So we're looking at different flows, like maybe 3-phase contact zones, and then the interaction between solids, liquid, gases, maybe liquid, gas. Those interaction. There are many research fields right in there. So I already did a lot. I did some research that were not focused on my actual research field. That's why I have some papers that are not in my thesis. Yeah, but they are new papers. So multi-phase flow, fluid mechanics is the answer.
All right. Okay, so we get to that, but somebody's asking that you should explain about the summation experience to journals. How is it like submitting the papers to the journal for publication? So maybe let's start from the beginning. I'll first ask, how many papers do you have to read in order for you to write one paper?
To write one paper, I think normally they always say that normally it's around 100 papers, but then that's how the 100 papers or 200 papers people tell you, they are not distinguishing between deep reading and skimming through. For example, like if you have a topic, the topic is maybe AI ethics or any kind of topic, just pick a random topic. Now you have to research this topic. We got something called literature retrieval. You need to do the literature retrieval before you utilize the literature. Now, in this literature retrieval process, you have to master skimming and reading. So skimming will be like what okay, this field is maybe engineering ethics. What in particular in engineering ethics do I have to is my research area focus? So you see in engineering ethics about what about this, you have to narrow your scope to something very small. So how you skim read, maybe in a day you read maybe around 50 to 100 papers, and the way you skimming through those papers, you go do your research, you put your research topic in engineering ethics, you see around 1,000 papers. Now the papers that are closer to what you want to do, you will open those papers. And for access on the paper, I think maybe if the president didn't tell you, if you're in a university right now, you have free access to most of the SCR papers because your school have already paid for those papers. You just need to use your school credentials, log on to it, and then use your school as an association or institution, and you get access to these papers. So if you have access to the paper, you are going to read the abstract of the paper, you jump over the introduction. The introduction will give you background, and then they give you details on why your research is necessary. Then you end with what you are contributing as a new idea. So you don't even have to look at introduction. You read the topic, the title first. When this align with your research focus, you go to the abstract of the paper. When it's very interesting, then you skim through the results, what the results these people had. If the results are something that align with what you want to do, you go and see the conclusion they have, then you save the paper. So you have skimmed through maybe 30 papers and got one. So you just skimmed through 30, but you have not even read one yet. So you put those papers in a folder that are aligned. Then you can start to read them. Most of you have deficiency reading. It's not a many people have this. This is not a terrible thing. It's normal. Some people can watch movies maybe for 2 hours and start reading for 5 minutes. They are very sleepy. So if you are that person who, when you start reading an article, in 5 to 30 minutes, you start sweating and your whole life is confused. You are sleepy and everything gets boring. It's okay. You can use maybe the Brazil talk yesterday about Edge browser having something called read aloud. So you can use the read aloud feature, or you can use something called Speechify. It's very cheap. You go on Taobao, it's around 12 euros or so. So you use Speechify, you put your PDF in it, and you use maybe Snow Doggy Dog or anybody to read that thing to you. They'll be swagging it, reading it to you, everything. Or you can use AI, you put it in AI to extract the main information from that paper. But you have to read the paper. The reason you are reading the paper is so you can have a strong background to contribute to this field. So if you read more papers, what you can start with is that you read papers, read papers, read papers. And what I advise many students to do is that do a review paper. So if you read more paper now, you can compile those papers together and publish a very good review. Now, if you're somebody who published the reviewer will ask you more questions and you learn more about this topic. So if you know more about this topic, you're in a perfect position to contribute a new idea in this field. Now, it doesn't matter what the field is. If you read around 100 papers, if you go through it, you see many new ideas. Now you can start contributing with your new ideas. That's how you go about doing it. So for the submission of the paper, we can talk about it, but I'm answering directly your question, Olano, Brazil, your question now. But the person asked a question about submission, so we can progressively lead to that.
All right. So now that you have read the papers, either using skimming or you take your time and read through, or you use Snow Doggy Dog mode, or whatever mode you use, or read aloud as a way of reading through the paper. Now you get all the ideas. How do you then structure those ideas into the format of a research paper, like methodology, introduction, and every other thing that is required for that specific journal requirement? How do you structure it?
I'm not getting you, but how do you structure the paper, right? So, okay, you have this idea. This is a new idea. First, you need to stress test your idea. Go on all the websites you can go to. Maybe you go on Google Scholar, you go on ResearchGate, and you need to make sure, you really need to make sure this idea or what you want to write have not been done by anybody. This is very important, because if this thing have been done by somebody and you take 6 months or 1 year to do that paper, it will be no use. You publish your paper maybe in a international journal, or you pay money to publish, and nobody gonna cite this paper for you. So this idea have to be a very brand new idea that nobody have done before. Now, the easier way to do it, there are two ways to do it. I'll go with the easier and the harder. The easier way, if you want to publish through pick a journal, maybe chemical engineering journal, impact factor is very high. You need to download some sample papers of this journal, and they will have the format there for you to follow. Some of them, like for example, some of the journal that have impact factor from maybe around 2 to 6, like that, they will have the introduction, they will have the abstract first, they will have the introduction next, they will have the methodology and the results and discussion, the methodology, results and discussion, and conclusion. Now, if you are going to higher papers, like if you want to publish through natural communication or science advances of chemical engineering journal, the whole structure is different. Maybe you are just, they'll give you maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs to introduce as the abstract. And you do introduction, but you're not labeling the introduction. Very short and concise. And you are not doing no methodology in a paper for now. You're going straight to the results. And there's no conclusion. You're just going in summary what that results take. Maybe around 5, you're doing like maybe around 5 figures. And then before you come to the methods, and then you must have a supplementary material. Maybe the paper is around 16 pages, but the supplementary material is 40 pages where you have all the detailed work you do. So you're just going to present your results in your paper. The supplementary material is where you justify everything you did. So the structure, the first way is to follow a format from a renowned journal that you want to publish. The next way is to go on the journal website. They have about authors. If you go to the about authors section, they have the requirements. For example, abstract have to be 120 to 250 words. And this, for abstract, you must state your main idea, your contribution, and the essence. Why do we do this? Why are we wasting our time on this? For introduction, you must give your background and give details. So they have all those things structured there for you. If you read them section by section, you can annotate your paper in that format. But most people don't do this. Most researchers just look at the other papers that are already published.
All right. So now that you have given that, we get to the other brother question there. Let's move a little bit into the journal aspect. How do you find a journal? And yeah, first let's talk about finding a journal, and then up next would be how do you submit your information, your work to the journal?
Yes, so I'll be so concise about this. The best way to find a journal is based on your research in your field. If you are in this field, you need to know the top journals of your field. This is the most important thing you ever do. For example, if you are researching on maybe interfacial dynamics of maybe particles, you need to know that the Journal of Interfacial Science is one of the biggest journals you find. So you go to the top. Don't read these journals that are 3.0, 2.0 impact factor. Don't read those papers. Go to the toppest journal. Liberian said the top to the top to the top journal. So you are going to the highest impact factor journal that are publishing in your field and get all your information from there, because you are adjusting your paper to meet that standard. Now, if you go and publish the paper, for example, and they reject it, they will accept it in a 9.0 or maybe 6.0 journal, which is also okay. So the way you know a top journal is by reading papers. You need to read more papers. When you are reading papers, you see those papers in your field that you have researched that are very high. Stick to them.
Okay. Now that we talk about the journal, but then do you have maybe a few names of general or generic journal that people can go and find papers to read?
This would depend on the major. So I don't know. Maybe if you can give me major, for example, if I give you top journals, I'll just give you journal in my field. So I think the best way to answer the question is for the person to give me that major, then we can try to, because I don't know an automatic way to find the journal, except it's him a few, I read some papers, then I go and see the highest journal in this field. That's the way I know how to do it. So for somebody with different major, I need to know the person major. Okay, they say I seen chemistry, clinical medicine. For the clinical medicine guys, you guys have a fix. You guys have standards. They are the most systematic group of people. So they have standards and they have premier journals. So you have to read more papers and stop reading papers that are 2.0 below. Yeah, and there are some apps you can use, but even you go to journal finder, as you're saying, for your particular field. It may work for some people who are doing basic general stuff. Some people who are doing detailed stuff, it may not work for you except you read those papers. So the best way to start is to start reading your paper. You should know how to search for your paper. I think the last time we had a program, in some edition of this program, we did some literature retrieval where, for example, if you are doing, maybe you are researching on bubble impact. So you can just put, maybe search for this people as bubble impact. You need to know how to put this thing in a machine so the machine can understand you. For example, if you say bubble, Bubble, then you got to use, you are using quote unquote bubble, Bubble code, then use and. So we taught you how to use the Boolean function and or like this. So you need to know how to search for papers like that. For example, if you are talking about bubble impact, I'll put bubble and impact. Or if I put in bubble impact dynamics, I'll put bubble and impact or dynamics. So they'll take bubble impact or bubble dynamics. So you need to know this thing. I don't think it's just we can't go into this in details now. But depending on your major, like for example, somebody said Elijah said computer science. Now for computer science, a very general topic. You need to go in details in computer science. Like for example, Brazil, you are the one who doing computer science. So in details, if you go into detail, maybe you use that RCC join. There are many journals in computer science. You need to go in details. If you know your field and you're studying your field, you have to go what kind of computer science. Cyber technology have the highest standard journal. If you have cyber security, have a higher standard journal. So your aim is to go to maybe the top five journals in your field and start looking at papers there. Every week they put new ideas. Start looking at those ideas.
All right. Okay. So for those just joining, welcome. Today is the last day, and we are basically having an open discussion. Like we said, it's going to be on research, as well as later on after Dr. Mulbah, I will also come in to talk about other things on ICT research and career development as well. I've been notified that connection has been restored, so all of my devices will be up shortly. The certificates are already set and ready, and after this program, we will notify you. I probably would like to save a few seconds so that we can test it, and the certificates will be ready for download today. We had to work overnight to get the job done. So certificates are ready, and everything is set and ready. Systems are back on, and we are grateful to God for everything. So we have Dr. Mulbah here. He is the chairperson on the Academic Excellence Committee of the Liberian Student Union in China. And currently, of recent, he has completed his PhD. So he's trying to share with us his experience. And if you have any question at any point in time, you can send your question in the chat session, or you can raise your hand. I see the hand of Abraham is up. So Abraham, get ready. We'll get to you shortly. For those asking maybe other questions, we covered some session on previous edition on how to submit paper to the journal, how to find paper, how to write paper. We have some of these videos on the TIT YouTube channel, so you can always go there. And he was here the last time on one of the edition, going in detail of how to do all of what he's talking about. So we have that video already there. So we just skimming you through and then just have the open discussion instead of giving you something technical right now. We have had technical things from day 1 to 4. And later on, when I'm sharing, we'll also talk about a few other things pertaining to research, and maybe that will answer some of the questions you have here. But let's get Abraham. Abraham, are you there? Abraham Kanu.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, you can ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc, for your presentation. I was actually interested in the aspect of transitioning of your research, because inter alia you mentioned that you started mining engineering in Liberia,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So yes, this is a serious challenge to most of the students that sometimes I interface with in China, especially looking at their research background, moving from back home and move to China. I want you to just highlight some of the challenges moving from mining engineering to now a different research field as you pursue your PhD, because sometimes these are problems that students encounter, especially when they receive their admission letters from back home and coming to China. They have like a new experience in a different, because what I know about research, continuity is very important. Like for um the executive officer here, I don't know your background, but you started computer science, you moved from that point to masters in computer science.
Hello?
The supervisors are saying is your work, is your work, is your work. They don't care what your background is. And you moving from mining engineering, I think, so your master's and PhD is a different field. I just want you to share experiences, the challenges that you encounter, and some of the success stories. Success stories we know already that you publish almost 8 papers, which is excellent. It's difficult to find short students here in China with those kind of achievements. I know how trouble it is to do an experimental research. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you for the thoughtful question. This is very sticking point for almost 90% of the students. But there are few things that you will have to do if you want to succeed. Because back in Africa, most African countries, we are very focused on memorizing. Like I know how to memorize materials. I know materials. I memorize some things that even stay with me now. Even though I need to memorize sometimes for short time and then try to forget it. Try my best to see if I can forget it. So, but if you transition from one field to another, irrespective of the field, let's start with irrespective of the field. Just by the mere fact that you are transitioning, there are too many things that you have to contend with. One of them is that in engineering back in Liberia or back in Africa, Sierra Leone or whatever, they are not really doing uh, they are not really doing computer related engineering. The computer related engineering we are doing maybe SQL, Microsoft, which is the most basic for kindergarten stuff. But you come here, you need to process data using Python, using MATLAB. and using code, C++, those things you have to start to learn them. So most students here in China, they learn it from high school. And maybe if you transition, you have to learn it. Now, in the field of engineering, if you are very good at research, you can navigate through many engineering fields. But if you find your niche and you know what to do in a particular field, most of the times, for example, like I did PhD in bubble dynamics. I cannot do postdoctoral in research in bubble dynamics because if anybody read my PhD thesis, the requirement is that you must improve. You must do something that is very maybe challenging or maybe not the same. It have to not be the same before you have your PhD, your postdoctoral position. Something maybe related but not the same. So transitioning from a bachelor's or master's to a PhD, there are things that you must be willing to do. One is sacrifice, two is learning new materials. There are too many new equipments you need to learn. You need to learn new software programming. Now we are in a world of AI. If you don't know programming, AI can help you to program. You can use there are more basic courses, there are more basic material you can use, like you can use Coursera that will help you maybe to code with AI. So, and if it's giving you more problem, use ChatGPT to troubleshoot. But most of you ask ChatGPT just random questions instead of using ChatGPT to troubleshoot your problems and other things. So transitioning from one major to another is difficult. But if you have the basis, you will succeed because it's not a luck thing that you are doing if you have the basis. If you have the basis, for example, if I'm doing fluid mechanics, I did a lot of fluid mechanics courses already. I knew fluid mechanics and I love to do fluid mechanics. So during the transition process, I transitioned how to do courses about power systems and some difficult courses about maybe heat transfer and other stuff. But then they were all related to fluid mechanics courses I did way back in college. So they were just improved version. And yet the thing you said was very right. Your teacher, no teacher will spoon feed you here in China. If you want to learn, you learn. If you don't want to learn, even in your classes, you're doing courses, the teacher will just come with PPT and give you PPT, and will look directly from the PPT and read it back to you. It depends on you to take this idea and go and develop it. Because teacher, if you don't want to teach or if you don't want to learn anything here in China, you will not learn anything because the structure is here for you to not learn anything. The way everything is structured. Some people will graduate with master's degree, they don't know anything about a major because you just have to fight to the master's degree students. You don't have time. You have the illusion that you have time. Some of you have 2 years, some of you have 3 years, and you're going to do courses for 2 semesters. If you do courses for 2 semesters, you that have 2 years, you only have 1 year. And you're going to use 6 months to start reading your late paper, reading your paper. You don't have time. Graduation time is already on your hand. So most of you don't have time. That's why you need to bypass by spending more time doing what matters the most. So it's very difficult to do, and you have more tasks to do. But if you put in more time, I think you can achieve whatever you want to do, even if you are transitioning between fields. And it must make sense to you. If you are good at chemistry, you can go do chemical engineering, which is not ready chemistry, but then they will get chemical principle and the basic of chemistry will help you to succeed in that field. If you did maybe mining engineering, if you're doing metallurgical engineering here, or if you did fluid mechanics related, and you go do multi-phase flow or so, it should make sense to you and you should be waiting to do it. And I think you can achieve if you are waiting to do it. I'm hoping I answer your question.
All right. I think that was detailed. Can you hear me, Mr. Mulbah?
Yes, you're clear.
All right. All right. So let's move on to the next question in that line. Like we said, if you have any question, you can send it in the chat section, or you can raise your hand, and then we will take your question. There's a feature here called React. So when you click on React, you will see raise hand, or you can easily tap your question in the chat session, and you will answer your question. So you don't have to wait for everything to be over before you ask your question. Now, for some who might still be confused or don't know, do you have to pay for the publication of your papers? And if you have to pay, what is the estimated cost for one paper?
Yeah, so it's not fixed. Some of them you have to pay. In a journal, if you go to a journal paper, you will see some the papers that will be free. In most of the time, the paper that will be free of charge, it will be papers that you have already paid for. So I'm just going to give you a sample now. So it's not fixed. For example, most of my papers, all the papers I've already published, they were free because I did the research, and then they just publish it free for me. But now the journal will have access to your paper, and the paper is not free, so you cannot share it with anybody you want to. And anybody who have this paper, who want to read this paper, must have access to the journal. And you can have access to the journal maybe through your school and what have you. So if you have open access, that's something you should watch out for. If the paper is open access paper, that means you have already paid for that paper. Anybody around the world, once you have internet, you can read this paper. Once you have internet. But those people that have subscribed are those ones that you did not pay money for. Now the journal is going to use this paper to get their money from it. But then for these big journals, like for example, the range is actually around 2000. I don't know, depending on the paper. For example, Nature, we submitted paper to Nature Communication, I think 2 weeks ago. One of my recent paper. We submitted the paper. It's around 50,000 RMB conversion. Yeah. Natural communication. Science advances is around 40,000, like that. So it's extremely expensive. Now, if you go to some of these science direct papers, maybe for example, International Journal of Multi-Phase Flow. The last time if I can remember, it's around 2,000. Yeah, I think it's around 2,000. So the fee is not fixed. You have to go to the journal, and if you are going to submit your paper for review, you have the option. The option will be whether to subscribe or whether to do a paper where you are not subscribed, which will you'll be paying. That is free access paper, where you'll be paying all the money and your paper will be free for everybody. So those are the options. It depends on the kind of journal. And the money is not fixed. It's different depending on the kind of journal.
All right. So in your case, for a paper that you had to publish and what you have to pay, were you the one paying, though the university wants you to add their university name as affiliation? Were you the one paying for those papers, or was your professor or your university paying for it?
My professor paid, but it's not even his money. All these instructors, they have projects. So you see at the end of the paper, they will put the acknowledgement, and when you read some of the acknowledgement of the paper, they will tell you maybe this paper was published by. It depends. Many of them, I think the most common acknowledgement for this paper will be maybe the National Foundation of China, the National Science Foundation. It depends. So if you read any paper, you go down to where there's acknowledgement. They will tell you where who's sponsoring this paper. So there are projects. Now for this paper, if it's a Natural Science Foundation of China, they give your supervisor maybe around 200,000 RMB or so. They gave me extremely a lot of money. So you apply for this project, and the project have a name. You see the project name written there, maybe the National Foundation of China, project number this. So in that project, they give me money to pay for any equipment. So you shouldn't buy any equipment, numerical or experimental equipment, and you shouldn't be able to like pay for subscription or your papers. So he will be able to use some of that money to pay for you. You don't have any responsibility financially.
Okay. All right. So we have two hands up, and also Arlington, the Allen Jr. also share his own experience in the chat session as well by paying $2,800 for LSUIC one paper. But let's take Jala Gibson, and after Jala, we take C.C. Harris. So Jala, you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yeah, to the Honorable Dr. Mulbah. Yeah, it's just a simple question, man. I would like to know, like, I have found some difficulties in comparing topics, right? Like maybe you want to make a research concerning a specific field, and then you're trying to make that topic more relevant where you have other simple, like you said, right? Like when you starting to do research, it's better you do some revision of other things. So I would like to know what are some ideas that you can put together, like to come up with a good topic or to generate a good topic.
Or what kind of topic is it? Or what do you want to do? Original research or review?
Both.
Yeah, so you'll go through different route for both. So let's take them both. If you're doing a review paper, you are telling everybody that want to read this paper that you have read too many papers and there are ideas that need to be gathered to be structured for young researchers. So if you're just coming in a few, stop reading original papers and go to review papers. If you read review papers, those reviewers that are published, the explanation is that I'm publishing a review papers because I have knowledge in this field and I've compiled all the idea and structure it in a way where young researchers who come into the field should start from here, read from here to know how the ideas are coming together. Now, for a review paper, you need to read more and be able to have the concept in your mind and use your computer. Some computer knowledge that they were teaching you here 2 days ago are very simple, but then are very helpful. The professor were teaching you how to create new folders and structure your folders like a tree. So you create a new folder. A folder is review article on technical roles in engineering. So in that folder, there are many branches. What kind of technical role, what kind of analysis, everything. So you use the folder, and you structure the idea. That's how you do it subsection by subsection. So you need to read more paper and learn how to structure your idea. And you get the ideas by reading more review papers. For original journal papers, the way to get the papers, you have to read. There's no other. If there was a fixed way, maybe there are I use some ideas. There are some things I will share with you doing. Okay, I can share with you even now. For example, there are some ways. There are some means that you can use to review papers. For example, you get this one paper. This paper, I don't care for the name. You can name this paper any kind of name. Now, if you have this paper, what you need to do is you are going to give me time. I'll give you a software. So what we can do here is that, for example, we have this one paper. The paper name is we give it any name. We say research analysis for computer science or whatever. Now, try these connected papers. That's why I usually use these days to structure the paper. So we see connected papers. So if you use connected papers, what will happen is that if you get this one research you are interested in this one paper. Now you're going to put this paper in connected papers. Now they are going to structure this paper in a way to tell you all the branches that this paper idea have been developed into. All the papers that are connected to this paper, to structure it in that way. Then you can use that connected papers to find other similar papers that are related to what you want to do. So you only get one paper and you read this one paper, you put this paper in connected papers, and you can get related papers that are associated with the paper with the same idea. You can also do this by reading the paper. For example, if you read the introduction and in the results, they'll tell you the background of this research. This other person have done this, and the result is this. For example, this person have investigated in what we said the topic was technical role, right? Technical role in engineering. But this person found out about this. Now they gave this person found out about this. They gave this person result. So you need to go to this person paper and read it. And in that person paper too, so the whole thing is connected. And another place you can find more papers here is in the reference. So you read the papers, they'll tell you what this person have done, and you go to the reference. You extract.
Yeah, go ahead. I think his mic was open.
So you read this paper, they'll give you the background in the introduction or give you some results. So you extract this paper, you see this person idea, you go to the review of this paper, or you go to the reference of this paper, you see this person paper. Then you can also click it and go read through it. And in that person paper too, they expand more ideas. That's the second way to do it. The third way to do it is to go to places like Research Gates or whatever. So if you go on Research Gates, for example, you go click that paper, they will tell you they have some section. One section is a reference where all the papers are. Another section is the citations, which is very important. If this paper was published 2023, the citations, there are new citations you see, maybe 100% cited this paper, all the citation will be later than 2023. So you got new paper and you see the new direction that this research is going. Then you can click those new paper and you just be clicking like that, but you need to build in and you need to have a fixed focus. If you are focusing on a topic, anything that is not related to the topic, if you want to read it later on, you just save it and read later on. So your aim is to be fixed on a particular topic, and maybe by 1 week you can get almost 100 papers you need, and you must be you must be able to skim through the papers. Did I answer your question? Do you have more questions?
Yeah. So while we wait for him, there's another person called Cisse Harris. Cisse, if you are there, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Da, for your explanation. We have some problem here as students that which have to do with our research background during applications. Out of the application asking for your application packages, we just submit all to them. Just in the twinkling of the eyes, I think you throw a bit light on it, but I want you to please go deeper. In the research, there came a point of time, they divert our entire research direction. It has been something that already been troubling some of us, how to get our way out of it. And we still kind of fighting ourselves with it, even though we are grappling a bit by bit, but it's not a kind of easy task. What is your advice that to us, and what's the way forward for us to find our way through perfectly in this kind of condition?
To restate the condition.
So Cisse, what exactly is the problem? Cisse, if you are still there, please come back and let us know what exactly is the problem or the condition.
I could answer the overall question, but then
Okay, you can just go ahead from what you hear. I think he dropped, so.
Yeah. The question.
Yeah,
Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
The question was, after we did the study of what we put in for, but in the overall of giving us supervisor, because we did not receive supervisor at the beginning of the study. It
Yes.
was in our second semester ending that we received supervisor. But these supervisors that were given to us, they happen to like divert our entire research background. It has been something that we kind of struggling with here. So what is your advice for us? We have been kind of back and forth with it. So it's very been a trouble time for us.
You some students don't it depends on what you want to do, your discussion with your teacher. Some teachers will allow you to stay on the line so we can have maybe quick discussion about this, so we can clarify the parameters of answering this question. So stay on the line and on. So some teachers, they are very open-minded. They will give you the option you can do, or maybe a research direction that I have knowledge on as the teacher. I will help you. I will give you students to help you. Or you can do research direction based on your own knowledge and your interest in this field. But the problem is that you'll be on your own. Some teacher can give you that option. You'll be on your own if you do your own thing, or somewhere where I have knowledge, then I will help you. Now, if
exactly what we were into.
So we are
just kind of on our own.
So you decided to go on your own on the research?
Yeah, because we couldn't really cope with what he tried to give us. Because what he tried to give me, let me talk about myself. What he tried to give me from down in grade school up to my first degree, I don't have no fundamental basis at all. So, but then he wanted me to go into that field. It's a kind of sticky conditions for me.
Yeah, it will be hard from the beginning, extremely hard. Yeah, but what you need to do now, you are in this situation. I can give you a few advice. I have advice for you. One is that you should never get in confusion with him. You should always understand and always say yes first and okay first. Then you give your opinion in a later state. You should never get in argument with him. That's one. After crossing that, two, to survive and do this thing, since he say he will not help you, he will actually not help you. Most of the time, they will not help you. So what you can do now, you need to build a network of people that are doing related materials. So if you build a network on your major, if you have anybody, there are more people doing your major. If you expand, you can expand you going to symposium, conferences, or on research gigs. You should make research gigs to be your Facebook. Go on research gig often. There are more people. You can add anybody from anywhere in the world. You add them and send them message. They will reply you on research gigs. So you, or in your school, if you're doing conferences, you need to get together with people who have idea, or look for somebody who have graduated or who in higher level. If you can get any level of mentorship, I think it will suit you better. But then there's no perfect solution for this your problem. You have to own this your major you want to do, and then try to execute it by yourself. Because from my experience, if they say they will not help you, I know a student, they will not help you. A teacher did not help a student even to lay a pen. No.
All right, thank you for your advices.
Okay, so you need to do it on your own. Try.
All right, so that's it. Listen to your supervisor. Always don't get into any confrontation. Your life in China, and especially it's tied to that person, especially visa issue and even approving your work. Because if you go and still do it, you come back, you still need that work need to be approved by a supervisor. So if you guys are beefing each other, he might do your work is good, but he might just want you to make your life difficult and send you back. So always be at peace with your supervisor. At about this time, we will soon be climaxing the session on research. So if you have any question on research, please raise your hand or send a question in the chat session so that we can all talk about research today. Anything pertaining to research, bring it up. I also have another section. I think the video should be on the TIT YouTube channel. We talk about different websites that can help you, especially somebody asks about how AI can help and all of that. So we have a different section where I cover so many sites, like even the connected people, consensus, there are a whole list of them that I cover in that video. So you can always go there, and they are very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Even SoundSpace also gave you a very good environment as well. So there's a whole list of them that I cover. Maybe with time I will talk about them, but we've already covered these things before. Aminata hand is up, so Aminata, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. By 8:45, we will stop the session and allow Dr. Mulbah to rest. Then I will take it up from there by 8:45. So, Aminata, you can go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Dr. Mulbah. Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to know, you said about before you publish in a paper, you have to read about 100 papers for you to publish one paper. So I just wanted you to at least share your knowledge with us, or maybe if you have key ideas, by reading those 100 papers, do you have specific things that you look into those papers before knowing that these 100 papers that I'm reading, are they related to my research?
Yes, you have to. Before you read any paper, they must be directly related to your research. That's why you have to skim through the paper first before you read it. So if you are focusing on our topic, we have our hypothetical topic with technical roles in engineering, right? If you're researching on technical roles in engineering, or maybe multi-phase analysis or whatever your research focus is in. Now, maybe you have skimmed through over 1,000 papers or 500 papers. The skimming through, this is how the skimming through work. You go through, I don't know where there are many places to go find research. If you're using, maybe you go on ResearchGate, or you go on Google Scholar, or if you
Yes,
go,
normally I go on Google Scholar.
yeah, you click the paper and you read the abstract of the paper. Okay, yes, the abstract. Or you go on Science Direct, the abstract is right there. You read the abstract first. If this research is something that you know about, if you know what you want to research about, you know if this research is aligned with your topic. As soon as you finish reading, they got something called the highlight. Yeah, they will give the highlight. The highlight will give the most important points, maybe sometimes 4 to 5 points. So in the highlights, they'll give the important points. So, like for example, on Science Direct, I think they have highlight first, then they'll give you abstract, then they'll give you snippet if you don't have access to the paper. So if you read that abstract, you should be able to know if you're able to read this paper, or if this paper have good important things. If it's interesting and you continue and look at the results are interesting, you look at the conclusion, then you can save this paper to read it after. So the papers are saying maybe around, if you want to read 50 papers to do your research, is okay. It depends on the length and breadth you want to cover. But you must skim through the papers first. Before to find them, you must skim through. Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so skim through the paper, and then you will get a general idea of what our research is about. If you're interested in it, you can dive further. So let's take Alexander Dunbar Joe. You can unmute yourself, Honorable, and ask your question.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Honorable CEO and the President of the Liberian Student Union in China. First of all, let me say good evening to Dr. Mulbah for the time and the opportunity we have to listen to him, his insight on the rudiments of research, writings, and all the other formalities that he has shared with us They are very insightful. And my question has to do with the usage of AI in writing papers. And most of the journals, if you read, they will sometimes ask you to make some declarations that
Yes.
you have not used any generative AI or some AIs in writing the papers. So and you are already talking about the usage of AI, maybe in some developing some web and some other maybe figures and other things that you spoke about. But when it comes to maybe using generative AI, what's your take on that? In writing research, maybe like review and other things using AI, like maybe SoundSpace and other things that maybe the president was trying to mention.
Yeah, they say somebody told me ChatGPT have improved a lot, but I think ChatGPT have a purpose. ChatGPT purpose was not to replace human and human logic. Like for example, the papers are published. You are publishing paper as an author, so you should have certain start. That's why you do your thesis and the research. You should be able to frame the paper in a way you want, not even your supervisor want. In a way you want, then your supervisor will edit it. So let's go to the use of AI. For me, I will tell you what I use AI for, then I'll tell you what generally and can conclude. I use AI basically, I think AI is best for structuring. If you want to structure ideas, structuring and troubleshooting ideas, do not just use AI to write your whole papers. For example, don't use AI to develop paper, to develop novel ideas. No, you have this novel idea and nobody have done this before. If you use AI to generate novel idea will not be novel. They will give you idea that they have imported, somebody have imported before, so, or maybe something on the web. So if you have this novel idea, you can talk to AI on structuring. AI is very good at structuring some ideas. They'll cover some things that you did not even see. So you can stress test your idea with AI. You can also troubleshoot this novelty of this idea. And but do not use generative AI. Please write this thing for me. No. Sometimes some people, let me tell you what some smart people can do. Some people can write a paper, they take that paper because they are not good with English and maybe they didn't cover some things. They take this paper, they put it in AI. AI generate and improve because they say ChatGPT 5.1, they say 5.2 or 5.1 is good at responsive that is research related. So now, for this, before you do this, you need to go in the AI. It has something called preference or so in AI. You need to say, okay, I don't want M dashes, and you don't lie to me, or you should maybe don't create hallucination, and you can instruct AI what to do. Now, after the AI gave you this response, the response will be AI. Now, there are two ways you can humanize the AI. They got other tools that can humanize AI, or you can break this thing sentence by sentence and humanize AI. When I see most of the writing, any writing somebody gave to me, I just need to read a little bit. I know if it's AI generated or not. It's not difficult at all. People think it's difficult because they are not read. If you read people every day, you read humans. Sometimes you can relate to some humans if you're reading their work. But if you read AI work, we have read AI work a lot. If I read AI work, yeah, it's very close. I can assure you, I will tell you if this was AI edited or so. I'm not 100%, but I can tell you because there are many things. For example, there are few things they will tell you. They will write a sentence. This about this beneath this, and do come out, including this. This is AI doing this thing. Or for example, to join complex sentences, they use M dash. They'll put the M dash, and you just keeping the M dash there, and they will start the sentence in a way. AI writing will kill you. No, anybody see this thing, they will know it's AI. And quickly, in the next 30 seconds, let's go to the ethics. If you are reviewing people, I've reviewed many papers, you don't put the paper they told you to review in AI because you accepted that you will not do it. Before you accept that review, you accepted that you will not do it. Now you also accepted that you not use generative AI. So your AI need to be humanized or you do it by yourself. If you don't do it by yourself, you use generative AI, you need to go into people's system and tell them you use generative AI. They know ask you which part of this research you use generative AI. And just tell them it's all the research, then they reject the paper. Like this. So you need to know how to do it. You need to know how to do it the smart way. You can use even quick bars to maybe rephrase your AI materials, but you don't use AI directly and carry it to the people journal, because those people who read for a living, they will see it from far off.
Okay. All right. So that's it. Any other question before we let go of our chairman to rest a little bit? Any question? I think there is one here from Genevieve in the chat session. How do you troubleshoot using ChatGPT for research purposes?
Troubleshooting, it depends on what you want to troubleshoot. For me, I troubleshoot new ideas. Like, for example, ChatGPT will be good at, and any kind of GPT or any kind of AI, it will be good at reading materials from the web faster than you. So if you have this novel idea, you need to know how novel is this idea. You do it by reading other papers, searching for this idea. Maybe you are talking about impact, maybe drop impact on rotating liquid. Have anybody done this before? You need to read all the available paper. You go in ChatGPT to troubleshoot this idea. You ask, have this been done by, or list all the possible research related to this field, and they will give you all kind of correlated field. Now, if you go to the correlated field, you can troubleshoot, is this thing new or not? Yes, that's how you do it. So if it's new idea, ChatGPT will tell you, don't tell them if this is new or not. They ask them for any correlated idea that are closer to this. And you also use all the available web. You have to have the paper 100% novel. Nobody have done this before you do it. When I say 100% novel, let me take 30 seconds to explain this. 100% novel, I don't mean that nobody have ever done it before. Take, for example, you have somebody have written a research on this hand sanitizer, and the person wrote it in a way where the structure is like this. You can also turn this thing upside down and do the experiment and get a new idea and new results. And compare your results with the thing turned upside down to the one that is turned up front, and see if you get similar results. If the results are different, that's a new research. If the results are seen, that's a comparative analysis research. So whatever way you replicate this thing, whatever way if you replicate this thing, whatever result you have, you can publish it. So that is new. It's novel. It does not have to come from heaven, or you can maybe twist some things and maybe twinkle some things in people experimental analysis and expand some parameters. Maybe this person use small parameters, use wider one, then you can get a novel research.
All right. So thank you so much, Dr. Mulbah. Thank you so much. If we don't have any hand raised or we don't have any question in the chat session, then we will allow our honorable man to rest a little bit as we transition into some other discussions on technical things. But then before you leave, Dr. Mulbah, what is your overall maybe advice to people that are pursuing maybe master's and PhD? What is your overall advice to them?
Yes, don't take shock or work harder than you can imagine. In China is number one for research based on January census. They overtook America in terms of novel ideas, like how many novel ideas you bring forth to the table, because the people here work harder. In Europe, My friends in Europe say they work from 9 to 5 o'clock, and they have tea break at 10, and they have tea break at 4, and then they go back home. So you rest your body. But if you are from Liberia and you don't have anything, and you want to find a career, you must work harder. If you don't work hard, you will graduate from here. Maybe you publish one paper in some international journal that will not know. They will give you maybe 1 or 2 citations after 3 years. If you do that, you will go back to Liberia after graduation. I can assure you. If you do your PhD, you go back Liberia. If you do your master's, many schools will not accept you. Your own set school can accept you, and you stay there again. If you do nothing, you graduate, you go back Liberia. If you go back Liberia, it's not very easy there. People that are there say there are too many people with degrees there, first degree, second degree, and there's no job. So you have the opportunity to stop sleeping. It's an option you have now. You can be a big boy, big girl, yeah, it's okay. Everybody is big. Or you can put your feet down and study and create something. If you create something, or teacher from anywhere, like a postdoctoral, I'm choosing between 2 places. I was supposed to apply to 10 schools, but I applied to 2, and the next day the 2 accepted, but then they are processing. So I say, because this thing is hard to do, I say I'm not even going to apply to more schools because I'm busy doing some research. So if you try your best, the teachers will want to accept you. And if you graduate with your PhD, you do a postdoc, it will give you a lot of cash, and it will make you can bring your family in China, and there are many opportunities. So my parting statement to you is that if you want to study and you don't have a background, you don't have a maybe career yet, you're not just coming for documents, you want to build your career, you need to study, you need to deny yourself. Sometimes you need to deny your sleep time. Sleeping, you just need to, sometimes you deny it. When you pass through that fire, it will refine you to be a better person and a better researcher. Thank you.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our honorable Dr. Chairperson of the Academic Excellence Committee of the Liberian Student Union here in China, who recently graduated with a PhD. So let's give it up for him. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you for everything that you have done, that you have said. We highly appreciate. Thank you so much. So we're going to transition a little bit into the ICT aspect of it. And let's give it up. Let's give it up. Let me see if people are still appreciating our honorable man here. That's the least you can do, to just say thank you. That's the least you could do for everything that was said here today. Just thank you is enough. Thank you while you're following. You are in class. Please focus in class. Stop sleeping in class. Wake up, somebody wake up your classmate. Wake up your classmate. Your classmates are sleeping. Wake up. Classmate, please wake up. Don't sleep in class. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Appreciate our doctor for the sharing. What you have just heard, you might not have the chance to hear it like the way you have heard it, and you might not have the opportunity to engage with a presenter like the way it have just happened. So today or tomorrow we'll invite you as well to come and share on something, and you always want people to at least tell you thank you for what you do. Gratitude is a must, and it's a way for you to excel in life. I just gave you a key just now. I could be a philosopher. But let's move on. Thank you so much for joining. Today's the last day
After today, you'll not hear my voice. Probably you might not see my face until maybe it's personal. But we really want to appreciate all of you for joining this edition. And we have had so many other editions, and they were basically much more technical, like cybersecurity, big data, the math behind these AI platforms or machine learning. We covered a whole lot on so many things. We cover also academic research. We cover networking and so many things we have covered. And you can only find that when you go to the TIT YouTube channel and watch some of the videos that are there. Everything have been recorded and free to watch. Especially if you are in China, internet is not a big of a problem for you. So just enjoy your time while you are here. Learn as much as you can so that when you go home and you are struggling with data issue, by that time you already have so much information up there and you are ready to debate the issue with anyone who say you have a Chinese degree and your degree can stay long and all of that. But it's good that I am not sure many people in Africa or Liberia or even in the West have received the latest information that China has not topped the world when it comes to research. So when you're considering countries in the world currently about research, China is the #1 in the world. Forget about your Harvard, your MIT, your Oxford, whatever it is, China is the #1 in the world. So this is something that you should think about carefully. And there are so many Liberians and so many foreigners here in China that contributed to that. Because when you are publishing your paper, they ask you to put your affiliation, you put your university name, and that alone will give that university a better position in the ranking. Okay, so let's dive a little bit into something else. Like we said, the certificates will be given to you today. So please stay. We will check the attendance. And what we can assure you is with the way in which we do the training or the way in which we organize our platform, it's not like maybe, for example, you go on Coursera to register and all of the information are there. The videos are pre-recorded. So anytime you complete a video, the system realizes that you completed that particular video or you completed all of the tasks, then they can give you a certificate. But in a form where you have to attend each day, then we have to do attendance, verify if you actually attended, and then even at the very last day, you are able to receive your certificate at the very last day. You know, it's amazing. You might not understand, but if you probably into something technical, you actually understand the complexity of it. Because it's not something that is pre-recorded or something that is just there built in. Once the person completes the video, then give them certificate. It's a whole different ball game. But let's now talk about ICT. And for many of you here, probably you are doing computer science or you are just interested in ICT related information. I think my guy have just left, so that we just put up the screen. But just a moment. Let me verify something before I put up the screen. Okay. So please stay so that we do your attendance. We might not stay long here today. All of the certificates are now ready, and you should be able to receive them, as we said, right after the program today. We will verify as quick as possible. We already have the name. So please take note of that. Okay. So for ICT, in time past, it was mostly about providing support. And I worked for one company when I was in Liberia, and I was carrying the position of IT support. Just everywhere, in every office, everybody know you. You are just there troubleshooting things here and there. Nowadays, it has transformed, into something more forceful. Reshaping how we deal with career, reshaping how we deal with academia, and also society as a whole. So ICT is no longer just that field that you just have to provide maybe hands-on support or physical support. More to that, I would like us to maybe in the comment section, you can tell us which technology trend mostly excites you. Like maybe you have heard about AI, or you heard about quantum computer or computing. Probably you have heard about deep learning. Let us know in the chat section which one of the technology trends really excite you over the recent time. Maybe you heard about ChatGPT or DeepSeek. Which one of the technology trends really excites you of recent, since you got to know about computer or technology? Okay, somebody say quantum computing. That's Hosan. Let us know in the chat section which one really excites you. If you are a fan of technology or you have used any of a technical platform, somebody say ChatGPT, DeepSeek, deep learning, Gemini, quantum computing, ChatGPT, quantum computing. All right. So let us know there as well. Cybersecurity, DeepSeek. Okay, quantum as well. Okay, so many people are interested or got excited about quantum computing, and a lot of also people on ChatGPT as well. So while this is coming in, also this ChatGPT, for an example, how has ChatGPT changed your work or your study habits? Maybe you can unmute yourself and tell us, or you can also tell us in the comment section, how has, for example, whatever you have chosen, how does it change your study habits? Or maybe how DeepSeek have changed your study habit. Maybe you used to study for 10 hours, but now you use maybe these systems or this platform to help you do some things different. How does it really change your study habit? It is for good, it is for bad. Let us know. You can either raise your hand or let us know in the chat section how has any of these ICT or technological platform. All right. How has it really changed your study habit? Let us know. Anybody can raise their hand, or you can. Okay, Abraham, your hand is raised. Let us know how any of the AI platform that you have been using, how have it changed your study habit?
Okay, thank you, sir. By the way of introduction, I'm Abraham Dixon. Usually I use ChatGPT to study. Like I usually study on YouTube, but then I use ChatGPT ask some questions, especially when related to mathematics. Just give me some question to at least test my brain or solve some problems. That's how I use ChatGPT.
For me to say there's also a bit of echo there. Okay, so you use it to at least understand some mathematical expression or understand some mathematical dealings. You can also let us know about yours. How has any of these platforms really help you to change your study habit? Another person say using ChatGPT is okay for reduce the time limit of work, but using any kind of open AI blindly might be dangerous. All right, so we have different kind of platform that are into generative AI, predictive analytics, and automation. One could be for generative AI. Many of you already know ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Midjourney, GitHub Copilot. They are all under the aspect of generative AI. For the predictive analytics, we basically focus on healthcare diagnostics and financial forecasting. For automation, maybe customer service, data entry, content moderation. They are all real-world applications of AI or this artificial intelligence environment that we currently at. So it's when you hear about AI, they are not basically ChatGPT. There are so many platforms, but then people that are not into computer science or technology, every time you talk about AI, they just focus on ChatGPT or DeepSeek. But there are so many platforms that can do so many things. Recently we talked about the notebook LM that can help you to do a whole lot of things. So there are so many of them, and the purpose or the uses of them differs. So some might be for what you have known about, some might be something that you don't know about at all. For example, when we talk about cloud computing, in cloud computing, basically, we want to now transition or run our services by using the internet or using the internet as our own system. Before, in time past, you used to build physical servers. For example, maybe all of TIT platform and system, we needed to probably have our own server here, configure our server, and this server have to be online 24/7. That means electricity problem should also be considered. Internet problem should also be considered. So with that, it was difficult for so many companies to buy these resources for them to run their systems. That's where cloud computing come in. You can still have your server online to host all of what you want while you still do your normal operations. But among all of that, or all of them, we have three categories of them. We have something called SaaS, that is software as a service. We also have PaaS, that is platform as a service, and then the IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service. So for software as a service, you have used some of them, like the Google Workspace or Microsoft Office 365. They are all software as a service. For platform as a service, like the Amazon Azure or AWS, they are all platforms as a service. For infrastructure, we have DigitalOcean or Linode. So there are different cloud computing technology that are out there. And you might just consider it in a form where even your website, all of the people that have website, that website is being hosted on a server. So that's why whenever you're doing a website or you want to build a website or you want somebody to build your website, the person will also exclude you paying for the hosting, you buying the domain, the SSL certificate. These three are very important. Probably you can also add email and custom DNS and all of that. But the main things that you have to focus on is your hosting, the domain, and the SSL. The SSL is there to protect your website, to make your website secure. For the hosting aspect of it, it's almost like you buy a car. But the insurance is the SSL. So the car you're buying is like a website or a domain. That domain is the car. But that car needs to be protected or need to be covered by insurance. The insurance is the SSL. But then maybe you don't have a garage. So you also need to pay for parking lot. You need to keep your car somewhere every time you go into bed. Maybe your environment is not safe. The same way the internet is not safe. We have hackers. We have people that are just there. Their job is just to explore and exploit things. So your environment is not safe. The internet is not safe. You need to have a garage or a parking space that you can keep your car every day. That's what you have to pay for hosting. So when you pay for the hosting, the company now will be responsible to protect your site from all of these troubles that you might encounter from hackers and other people online. And then excluding that, you have to pay for the person maybe service fee, the person who's building your site. You have to pay for the service fee. So apart from you building a website, you pay for the person service fee, and then you pay for all of these local things. So they are all on the issue of cloud computing. When we come about, or we talk about mobile first technology or computing, you have also heard about 5G, 4G, 3G, and all of that. They are all under the concept of mobile computing. You also hear about IoT, which is the Internet of Things. Under that, we have smart homes, we have wearables, we have connected vehicles. Now there are vehicles even in China that you don't have to even get in. You can just maybe wave to it. It's going to leave the parking space and it'll come out, open the door, you get in. There are some of them, you can do so many things with them. And even the Tesla, some of you saw as well. So there are so many connected vehicles, and then as well as smart homes. So some homes, the moment you enter, they do certain things, even the window. For some of you that have been to hotels or to some halls, you see that the window curtain can open and by a button or by whatever sensors. Even you go into the bank or you go into some stores, the moment you get closer to the door opens. They are all part of the IoT devices. So sensors will be the one allowing you, whenever you come closer to the door always open, like the Lebanese store or whatever bank and any other places you go. There is a device at the top of that door that is basically a motion sensor that will sense a motion within a certain range or a certain distance. If you check on the TIT WeChat channel, I did one experiment of that where I used the ultrasonic sensors to measure distance. So we can use all of these things, and they are all under the aspect of IoT. We also have progressive web app that can also give us app-like web experience. More to that, we can have a little bit of discussion on AR, cloud, and mobile, like we have just talked about. So let us know probably in the comment section, or you can raise your hand and let us know one major benefit you think maybe AI, cloud computing, or mobile computing have towards the society. Maybe we always look at things from the negative, but let's look at one benefit. One benefit of AI. Within AI, we have the general term. But within artificial intelligence, we have deep learning, machine learning, generative AI, and a whole lot in that category. We also have cloud computing, we just talked about, mobile technology, IoT, and all of that. What is one benefit that you can talk about or that you can list? Probably just let us know in the chat session. Maybe for you that know ChatGPT, DeepSeek, what is one benefit? One benefit of that system or that platform. Someone please confirm if they can hear me. I don't know if you are hearing me, though I'm not seeing any message of somebody not hearing me. But please confirm
Yes,
if you can.
we are hearing you.
Okay, so Honorable Gaja Emmanuel that just spoke, let us know what is one benefit. One benefit of
Okay, thank you, Chief. There are serious benefits using AI. One like take for this DeepSeek. Like we use like Google to check information. Sometimes it will give you just little of that information. But for these platforms, once you are using them to check up a particular phrase, words, or maybe something that you really want to know, it gives you in-depth information apart from just giving you the definition. So it gives you detailed information.
All
And
right.
most especially if you use those necessary prompts.
Okay. Now staying on that note, what is one significant risk or challenge that you think this system maybe have on society or individual? One risk or one challenge?
Yes, one major risk is it might likely make you to be solely dependent, and then to work independently, it might be a challenge to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for leading the class on that session. Maybe let's have one more person as we get along. We'll also get another person. But let's dive a little bit into ICT in research workflow. But then I need another person to tell us what's your biggest frustration when you're conducting online research. What is your biggest frustration when you are conducting online research? Another person can also think about how do you currently manage your references and citations? How do you currently manage your references and citations? The first question is, what's your biggest frustration when conducting research? So let's see, I see the hand of Kanu is up. Abraham, you can unmute yourself.
All right. Thank you very much. I think it is a very, very, very important question. I just want to share some of my experiences while I'm doing my PhD program because it's purely based on experimental analysis, wherein you're expecting results as you're doing your experiment. Maybe it is clear that the frustration sometimes surpasses your achievement if you don't understand some of your matrices or your method that you want to carry out your experiment. It's quite frustrating sometimes. Like you're anticipating for a result and the outcome is not good to write home about. I remember there was a time I was doing an experiment that actually focuses on the slope stability, in which I was doing some analysis on rocks, wherein I tried to do some investigation on the reaction of some of these acids in this rock analysis, in which you do some Excel test or loading. After a series of days or month, and we went to the lab, we tried to carry out the experiment. We did not have result. In a sense, we waited for so long that to say this is the day that we'll be having an outcome. And I sent a message to my supervisor. He told me, okay, well, since we don't have results, what I would advise, just go home and sleep. So I went back home with so many frustrations because I was not thinking about going again to the lab and do the experiment again. My anticipation was, okay, now we'll have the result today. So the particular section in doing the result analysis section in the paper will be ready. I told my guys in the lab, and we don't have the results at that time. So I came home and I even called my parent back home. I said, hey, you guys, you need to pray for me.
Mm.
You know? So it's quite challenging anyway, especially if you're doing experimental analysis. I don't know for the guys that are doing maybe some literature work just to write and all. But for us, without doing the experiment, I don't think you have an outcome or result to further your plan in your method.
Okay. So
Thank you
how
very
do you
much.
manage your references and citation? How do you manage it? Do you use
Actually, yes, actually, I just need to understand one concept. Since I did my master's program in 2018, I was familiar with EndNote.
Okay.
So when I come back to China, that was the one that I'm still using. I'm not friend with other software because most of these journals that we are submitting our papers, you're looking at their reference style. 80 to 90% of them are using EndNote. So I'm actually friendly with them EndNote. So I'm using EndNote to do my referencing in most of my write-up that I'm doing.
All right. Thank you so much for leading the class on that one. Now let's move a little bit into another thing to talk about academic databases. Some of you are asking questions on finding papers and all of that. For multidisciplinary databases, like you can use Google Scholar, you can also use the Gestor, you can use Web of Science for multidisciplinary databases. So from there, you can find many papers on any topic, right? For scientific, PubMed, you can use IEEE Explore for those into maybe engineering, even computer science people. You can go there and find papers from IEEE Explore. Even from Science Direct, you can find scientific paper from there as well. For business, ProQuest, you can use ProQuest database to find papers as well. You can even use the EBS co-host to also find papers as well. And Dr. Mulbah also talked about using research, or search strategies, and he covered that in one of the edition of the program on how to find papers using some Boolean operators like and, or, not. You can also use them to find papers based on your kind of a search query. That's also very helpful so that you don't waste much of your time just producing or the system just giving you so many unnecessary papers that you really don't need. With that, you can also be alerted. Like he said, you can make maybe Science Direct and all of these platforms or databases your friend, like your Facebook, as he mentioned, quote unquote, to always check there and see if there is new publication or what's really happening there as well. So you can also make use of that. For reference management tools, you can use Zotero. Zotero is open source and it's also free. And it's also good for beginners. You can also integrate it into Microsoft Word. That will also be very helpful. Like the Mendeley as well is also free and is Elsevier owned. So you can also use some social features and PDF annotation as well from there. And EndNote, like for what Abraham just talked about, for EndNote you might have to pay for it. For the most part, you might have to pay for it. It have advanced features and it also have institutional support. So because of that, you might have to pay for it. And for analysis and writing, for quantitative tools, you can use SPSS for your data, your data analysis. You can also use Arrow, you can use Python and Pandas library for your quantitative analysis. For the qualitative analysis, you can also use NVivo, you can use the Atlas, you can use the DDoS, will also help you with that. And for collaborative writing, you can use Overleaf. You can also use Google Docs. And for the plagiarism checker, you can use Turnitin. Grammarly also have the plagiarism checker and some institutional tools. Maybe your school already have one. You can also use whatever your school have. We have covered session on Arrow for data analysis on almost 2 or 3 of the editions of the program. We even have one edition solely centered on data analysis. And I think I also conducted another session separately for the Sierra Leone Student Union in China. At the time, I was under the leadership of Lovell. I had one session with them on data analysis as well. And there are some private sections that I have for some people on data analysis using Arrow. And even if you have maybe your data to analyze and you are lost in the way, you can also reach out to me. I can also help you with that, but it is not for free. To analyze the data, give you explanation. I'll also give you the codes because for Arrow, I'm not using click and I'm using code. So I'll give you the code, I'll give you the figures, I will give you the explanation of each of those results so that you stay informed and know how to present or explain your data. The names, which name are you talking about? And for LaTeX, most of the journals also might directly connect with LaTeX. So you can use LaTeX if you want to have a collaborative writing, or maybe you are partnering with other researchers like Dr. Mulbah said. You can find some researchers online, and they are from different countries and different institutions. You guys can collaborate on papers. But then how do you go about writing together? You can use Overleaf or you can use Google Docs to have a collaborative platform for writing. And for turning in, for both, some of you that are doing your bachelor's, maybe they might not really ask you much for that, but some schools will ask you. For master's and PhD, you have to check your plagiarism, and they have certain threshold. Maybe they want 10% or 5% acceptable. So you can check it in advance before you submit it for blind review, or before you submit it to your supervisor or your institution. And Dr. Mulbah also talked about open access. Like the Go open access, the author have to pay, and for the green open access, maybe the institutional repository. But also be very careful of the predatory journal. There are those guys that might just not leave you anywhere. You just publish paper because you want to publish. But then your paper you publish, the journal is very bad, and that journal probably just there to make money or accept money. Once they accept the money, they publish your paper. They don't care. So you also have to be very careful of that, because maybe your school might not accept that as a good work for graduation. When it talks about career, I want us to go quickly so that we can finish in the next by 9:45 we should be out of here. So you can just stay for the next maybe 25 minutes. We'll be out of here by 9:45. I want to talk about tech career. For those of you into technology, what really you think tech career means to you? Anybody can raise their hand when it talks about career in technology or tech career. Maybe another person can tell us about the technical skills that they have, and also find them most valuable for their current career path or the current role. Which skill do you have? Which technical skill do you have? Do you know how to work